All right, today I want to talk about this right here. This is the coaxial Bond Seamaster, but in black. I've got it here next to the blue version, which was featured in the movie Casino Royale, the 2220.80. But I wanted to talk about this watch because it's sort of the lesser known variant and it's a little bit more rare than the blue one. But this comes in the middle generation, or I could call it the middle generation, the second generation of Bond Seamaster. Of course, the original was the one worn in GoldenEye, which was quartz, and then in the rest of Pierce Brosnan's run as Bond was the automatic version, which had the automatic movement 1120, if I'm not mistaken, ETA movement 1120. Then in 2006, they refreshed it with this, the blue Bond Seamaster 2220.80. This is the coaxial 2500 movement. And then later, they released it in black, which is what we see here. And this watch, I don't know how many years they produced it, I'm not exactly sure, but it's a little bit more rare because they only produced it for 2 or 3 years. Before then, they went in 2012 to the ceramic model. But I have my hands on this right now, and I wanted to talk about this watch because it's a really compelling watch. Now, I am a longtime Bond Seamaster fan. This is my one watch. If I had to get rid of all the watches that I own, this is the one that I would get, and this is it. Not the original, not the Bond Seamaster from the GoldenEye or in the Pierce Brosnan era, but this Casino Royale model. I'll do a video about that separately, but the basic gist is I like the coaxial escapement, I like the applied numerals, I like the larger handset, I like the applied indices. I said numerals, I meant indices. But everything else about it is just like the original Bond Seamaster. Oh, and I like the red word Seamaster as well. The pop of color is very appealing to me. However, this watch is really, really compelling. I bought this on a whim, and I'm now reselling it because it's just not the right time for me to own this watch. But there is a very strong chance I will buy this watch again. And let me just run through what makes it such a compelling watch. First of all, it's the case shape of the original Bond Seamaster, which I love and I find compelling. The things that I love about that case shape are it's got the lyre lugs that all Omega's sports models have had, not all, but most of them have had since basically the Speedmaster in the mid-60s, and then the Seamaster 300 adopted it, and they've had it on most of their watches since then. But it's got this very unique case shape. I love its very organic feeling. You know, one of my complaints about Rolex watches is their very industrial, hard-edged look and feel. And I think by contrast, Omega has a lot more organic feel to it in design. They're still obviously industrially produced machines or, timepieces, but I like the much more organic feeling Omega case shapes. And this is possibly the most organic shaped one. This perfect curve from this crown guard into the lugs themselves, the side profile is beautiful. I like the way that the bevel, the bezel is, the bezel grips this sort of oystery shape is less than perfect for actually gripping and turning, but it is doable. But what I love about this case shape is its thinness. This is 13 millimeters even, 13.0. Previous ones that were pre-coaxial were like 12.5. I think the Submariner is 12.5 as well. So it's slightly thicker, but not noticeable. I wore the original Bond Seamaster on my wrist for like 15 years, and when I bought this one, the coaxial version, I didn't even notice that it was thicker. It felt exactly the same to me. And then on a spec sheet did I notice that it was thicker, and indeed it is thicker, but it's not noticeable. And this black model retains that slimness. The wave dial is the subtle wave pattern. I like the smaller numerals on the bezel as opposed to the larger ones in the new modern ones. Not that the modern ones are bad, it's just a more bold look. This one flies under the radar a little bit more design-wise. And this being in black is interesting to me because the blue is obviously the iconic. You might ask yourself, well, if it's between the Bond Seamaster, let's say the Planet Ocean, and here's the first gen Planet Ocean 42 millimeter that was sold at the same time as these Seamaster 300s. The blue is the Bond, black is the Planet Ocean. So, where does this fit in that lineup? And in my mind, indeed, these are the iconic watches. These two sit next to each other, and I have them in my collection, and both of these I feel like are forever pieces for me. More or less, I think this is a forever piece. If I'll say for this one, and I keep saying I need to do a video about this, but for the Planet Ocean, the thing that appeals to me about this watch is the very overt callbacks to the 1960s 165.024 Seamaster 300, and rather than go and search down like a Watchco, modern build of that watch, I decided to get this. This is 85% of what I love about that watch. But if Omega were to do a faithful heritage model of that watch, the 165.024 Seamaster 300 from the 1960s, there's a decent chance I would sell this to help pay for that if they do that. So we'll see. Something tells me they won't. Anyway, back to this. So why does this watch exist? Should you buy it? That's the question. If you like the original Bond Seamaster, but maybe the blue isn't for you, or you kind of want something a little bit more like classic divery, and to be frank, maybe a little more submariner-y, but the sub maybe rubs you the wrong way because of whatever reasons that you might have, or you want to search an old one, but that's kind of a fraught thing with Rolexes. But blue isn't for you. That might be a use case for this for you. As a longtime Bond Seamaster wearer, I have to say the black is surprisingly good. It is it's higher contrast. So the black against the steel being a higher contrast is actually a really surprisingly great thing. I mean, this is like a deeper black than even the Planet Ocean. And now maybe this Planet Ocean is just faded or something like that. But because of this silver inner ring, it has more steel to it. But like this dial is also a deeper black than the Planet Ocean. Now the Planet Ocean has an external AR coating, so it's hard to get like on camera here, like a 1-to-1. But like this is less deep black than this is. So the higher contrast is something that makes this watch work really, really well and is really appealing. My brother just bought a Submariner, and he and I were comparing it. And I wanted to get it on this video, but I didn't have a chance. The timing didn't work out. But this next to a Submariner, this is sort of like the true comparison, but this one and that one. Now, obviously, his was the ceramic model, so it's not exactly. But this is the high contrast makes it work really, really well on more straps as well. I've tried this on tons of different straps and tons of different bracelets, and really, in my opinion, this looks best on its original, what I like to think of as the NATO strap in steel. This is the Bond NATO if it were rendered in steel, and it works best on that. And some people don't like that. It's a really comfortable bracelet. This one works on this bracelet as well, but it works really good on NATOs. And I think a big part of that is because of this high contrast black bezel and black dial. So, if I didn't have such an emotional, sentimental attachment to this color, because of its association with my childhood, my dad had one. That was the one that I wore for all those years. He let me borrow it for a long time, for years and years and years. My brother has that watch as well, and it was, GoldenEye when I was a kid. And if I didn't have a strong association with the blue one, I would very, very much strongly consider this being the watch. The red pop of color on the Seamaster looks killer on this black. The other things that I like about this one in particular, in comparison to this blue one, is that, number one, and I don't know if this comes out across on the camera, but the lume, like the color of the indices in daylight is white on the black one, and on this one it has a more greenish hue to it, which is interesting because this doesn't bother me on this, but it does look a little bit more like the original Bond Seamaster, where it was tritium originally, which would have had a greenish hue, and then they went to superluminoma, but they kept that color. And maybe it's because it's green lume. I don't know why it is, but it's got a greenish lume. It's never bothered me. But my brother did point that out to me recently, and I think that's interesting. Whereas this has a perfectly white, pearly white lume plots. Which brings me to the second thing. The lume on this is blue instead of green like it is on this. And that's also really appealing to me. In some ways, this is like the first step that Omega took, besides the co-axial movement, but the first step Omega took towards the modern era of the Seamaster that we live in now, post 2018. Because the current ones have blue loom, and they've got the coaxial escapement in it. Obviously, within a couple of years after this was introduced, they went to the ceramic model that also had blue loom, but they kept the 2500D in there. So this is like the first step towards that. This is the 2500D model, by the way. I want to say the movement, and you can tell because of the date window and also the serial number. But the date window has this different font than this one. It's interesting that they also color matched the date wheel in black to the dial as opposed to white on this. There's debate about which is better. Let me put on the wrist. It wears exactly the same as the other one. Perfect, slim, svelte, wide, kind of low to the wrist, but it hugs the wrist better than a Submariner. Like I said, my brother just bought a Submariner, and that thing is just a flat slab, a surfboard, which has appeal in the sense that it's just this like tool that you strap to yourself. But this, I feel like, has a much more comfortable sort of like, this becomes part of me. I mean, it just wears well. It hugs the wrist. Let me see if I can get it down the barrel shot. It's kind of difficult from this angle, and it hits the bone and stuff. But look at that. It looks great. It's thin. The bezel is a low profile because the bezel insert is aluminum. The later ones, when they went to ceramic, the ceramic has to be thicker, which means that this bezel stands taller against the case. That does make it feel thicker. It's out of necessity because of the insert, but that's, again, like another appeal of this. Let me do the rotating bezel. Nice and crisp. So let me just briefly compare it to the Planet Ocean. I'll throw the Planet Ocean on real quick, and you can see kind of the difference. This is on the original bracelet. I typically wear it on a Forstner flat link bracelet, which I think gives it a little bit, it leans more into those vintage diver vibes of like the Seamaster 300 I was talking about. But I love this watch a ton, and I think in terms of my collection, it makes way more sense to own this plus the Bond Seamaster than it does to own this and this, because that's just the same watch in different colors. Whereas this plus the blue complement each other, and these are like the iconic Omega divers, right? And so that's partially why I've decided to sell this one. Although, like I said, there's a good chance I'll buy one down the road depending on circumstances. But this obviously is like the ultimate Omega diver tool watch. This has, much more of the Omega design heritage baked into it. The open 9 and 6 and 12 numerals, Arabic numerals, the wedge-shaped hour markers. It's got that broad arrow hand that calls back to the original Seamaster 300 heritage. Let's see, the one that was the trilogy in 1957. So it's kind of like a mashup of those two, but the bezel has a much easier to grip knurling or whatever you call it. Kind of a coin edge to it that makes it really easy to turn. This has very, very more of a monochromatic look. The only color is the orange on the tip of the seconds hand. Some people prefer that more monochromatic. They think it feels more professional. Personally, I like the red Seamaster better, and newer Planet Oceans use orange on the word Seamaster. That's a personal preference, but I personally prefer it. So between these two, it just depends. If you're just going to buy one and you like the Bond Seamaster look and feel, and some people hate the skeleton hands and stuff like that, but if all of that is fine for you and or you really like it like me, man, it's a tough thing. This is more wearable in more contexts. I'll wear this with a tuxedo, no problem. This is definitely the chunky dive watch, like sports watch. I'm going to wear this more with like, casual outfits and, knitwear or maybe a really casual sport coat if I had like something in cotton or something like that. Twill cotton sort of sport coat would maybe be the dressiest I'd go with this. I mean, you can kind of wear whatever you want with a suit nowadays. I don't think I'd wear it with a tuxedo, but unless I had to. But this definitely is the more versatile in terms of like wearability, in terms of like the types of outfits that you're going to wear. So I highly recommend this piece. They're not hard to find per se. They're not as ubiquitous as the original Bond Seamaster. Maybe they're a little bit harder to find than the 2220.80. but I find it comes and goes in waves. I found this one on eBay, bought it, and then within, I decided to sell it here about 2 months later. And suddenly there's like a glut of them on the marketplace right now, and it's kind of strange. Some with the 2500D, one with the C movement. That's never bothered me. The C, I have the C in this, and it's actually both of these have the C movement for me, the 2500C. I have no problems with either, and I think that's a really overblown sort of issue. But this watch, I want to say, like, I've owned the modern 2018 Seamaster too. I'm sorry, I'm rambling, guys, but I just want to like get my thoughts out. The other thing about this that I really like is that, like, because it's black, that high contrast really makes it feel more modern somehow, or maybe it's more timeless. I don't know how to say it. I've owned the ceramic Seamaster, the 2018 model, in both blue and black, and I've sold both of those. In part because at the time it was like, they didn't really emotionally connect with me as much as I wanted them to, and I was able. There was other stuff I wanted to use that money for. If there comes a point where the money doesn't matter to me, there's a good chance that I'll get one of those again, probably the blue one or maybe the Necton or one of those. But having this for the past couple of months has sort of scratched the itch, and I think it's the high contrast bezel. I think it's the black. I think it's the blue lume, and in the dark, it looks just like one of the modern ones. And in the daytime, that high contrast and the white hour markers makes a difference too. It looks really good on a NATO strap, and I've never felt like this it's never really done it for me on a NATO strap on this. Or like rubber straps or whatever. So I guess my conclusion is this watch is fantastic. If you are at all thinking that you might want to get one, it wears really, really well. It's maybe more versatile than the blue or Bond Seamaster. As a one watch collection candidate, like if you just want to buy one watch, 100%. This is an excellent one. It's thin. It's got the Omega Seamaster 300 diver Bond Seamaster look that's so beautiful. It's versatile. It looks great on a bunch of straps. It's thin. You'll be able to wear it for decades and pass it down to your children. So this is a wonderful, wonderful watch. Submariner killer for real. Like, you know what I mean? I hate those kind of comparisons. It's dumb. Ultimately, the watch has to connect with you emotionally. And this one has connected with me emotionally. It's just right now, I'm selling it because, again, it's one of those things where it doesn't necessarily make sense in my collection. But down the road, when money is no object, like, there's a pretty good chance I can see myself picking this up again. So hopefully this has been a helpful video. Appreciate it. And let me know what you think of this watch. Thanks for watching.